Let's bring that beat back.
Hey, we're here. We're in the building. I'm back. Welcome back, everyone. Happy Thursday. Greetings and salutations. I hope you're all having a wonderful day, week, month, 2022 season, summer. Whatever it is you're having, I hope you're having a wonderful one. Welcome in. My name is Pixlriffs. Welcome to your Thursday Minecraft live stream. It's a wonderful life. So, how are we all? I am slightly poorly lit because my key light isn't on. 2 seconds. I remembered most of the things I do before I stream. Turning on the key light was not one of them. I have, however, got slightly faster internet now, in theory. It shouldn't affect the stream in any way because our internet was good enough to stream before. But what that does mean is I've had to reset a bunch of the connections to my lights in the background, which should all, fingers crossed, be working now. But I broke them once before just like using a different network. So let's see if that works out, if anybody wants to redeem some points in the chat. Hart Sinclair, thank you for gifting 10 subs, taking us to level 2 on the hype train already. The John B, thank you for the 2 months. Hart Sinclair with the 10 months yourself. And Jenny, thank you for the 300 bits. Dan Grice, welcome back for your 27th month supporting the channel. Jenny B14 with the 4 months as well. Spider Spawner tutorial is awesome. Got more string and eyes than I know what to do with now. Yeah, the eyes, you never find stuff to do with them. Unless you're making a lot of poison potions, I guess. There we go, the lights work. Yay, it worked. I did it right. Thank goodness for that. Viminator, thank you so much for the 6 months. Love the bridge, the catacombs, and the pirate skull. Can't wait for more lore of the past. More lore of the past will be coming soon. And BFSB, thank you for the 21 months. Welcome in. So, today we're going to be working on some stuff just around the ancient capital here and there. Kira, everyone spam the word nerd in the chat, please. Thank you so much for your 12th month supporting the channel here on Twitch. You are officially a nerd now. Welcome to the Nerd Herd. Enjoy your nerd sub badge, etc., etc. And Shadow Knight, thank you for the 100 bits as well. Making me want to get back into D&D with me being a server dungeon master. I do all right. I do all right. More dungeons are on the way, for sure. But thank you so much. And yeah, we're back. We're back. Had a lovely trip. I just want to spend today's stream just doing some busy work and catching up with you folks, because I've not been able to stream for like a week, so we've missed out on a few opportunities to connect and hang out. And yeah, as far as I can tell, nothing untoward has happened on the Empire server in my absence. There's not a huge amount going on that wasn't going on before, which is all good. Tachi Gamer, thank you for the 28 months. I will try not to spoil anything if there are things that I could spoil by traveling, so we're probably going to just be sticking around the house. Me and Jimmy are online right now. Jimmy is not going to be streaming from the server today. I think he has a sponsored Final Fantasy XIV stream, I think. Turns out the man loved World of Warcraft back in the day, so I think he'll get along very well with FF14. Should check the bridge? I have already. I've checked the bridge for my next episode. I basically logged in. The first thing I always do when I come back from a trip is log in to see if anybody's messed with me, which is usually good practice if you're on SMP. So I've been spending a little bit of time looking around. I've seen the additions to the Great Bridge. They're all A+, very good. So fun times. Yeah, Sam Garofalo, thank you very much. Thank you so much for the 22 months. Don't know about you, but I'm feeling 22 months. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, yeah, we may end up doing a bit more stuff on the catacombs here. I did put this extra wall around the outside. I felt like it should have, like, a little garden or something around the outside of it, with a few kind of, like, yellow flowers and stuff like that. Because, obviously, like, I'm basing a lot of this on Elden Ring, right? And Elden Ring has, like, these tarnished sunflowers around, basically. So it kind of made sense to do that around here as well. Pilot Try, thank you so much for that brand new tier 1 sub to the channel. Enjoy your emotes and your sub badge. Welcome to the Pixels. And Sprocket with the 15 months. Love the Yorkshire Sculpture Park content. Thank you very much. But yeah, I figured, like, in some cases we can put little, like, well, they daffodils, the yellow flowers, the small ones, daffodils in pots. Dandelions, not daffodils, but close enough. They kind of look like daffodils, actually, when they're in a bunch like that. But we can do that here and there. And that will be kind of a neat motif for this whole thing. Goes with the gold as well, ties in with the gold pretty well. So I kind of like that. I've already put a few, there's a few sunflowers. They point east because they point towards the rising sun. So they're like around the back here, basically, is like the best place for them. Unless we want them to be in front of this and like looking up at the statue, which I think would be kind of cool. But either way, am I going to Fwip's wedding? I'm not, no. I think Fwip more or less invited the people that he's been collaborating with for a really long time. And Fwip and I know each other from Decidedly Vanilla, but we kind of like chatted behind the scenes on and off. Like, we've remained acquaintances more than like firm friends, so it didn't really make sense for me to be invited to his wedding when we've only recently started collaborating again. Whereas these folks, he's known from X-Life, he's known from Empires, he's known from Afterlife. Like, it makes more sense, so don't worry about that. Hi, it's Amelia. Thank you for the 2 months. And silly Lara Croft with the 2 months as well. Thank you very much for the resubs, both of you. Just missed the train. Yeah, no worries. It's the train might be back at some stage, so you'll have a chance to catch it in future. So yeah, I'm going to be doing like paths and roads and stuff today. I think that's a nice chill thing to do. Somebody was asking how I got so much rooted dirt. I recently went to a lush cave, like out in the distance through my nether portal and out in the area where I have like a savanna in the distance where I went and got all of the frogs for the Froglight farm, basically. And yeah, I've been gathering some resources from around there because nobody else goes out there. I got my terracotta from there. I got a bunch of calcite from there, that kind of stuff. And I found a lush cave in that area, dug down through the roots of one of those azalea trees that naturally generates on the surface. Tons of rooted dirt there. Like, if you just excavate the area underneath an azalea tree, especially if the lush cave is really far down, you get, like, stacks of rooted dirt that way. But the other way I get it is from farming oak wood, and I typically farm oak wood by farming azalea trees because they need less bone meal. So I like it. I like it a lot. Yeah, that's that. We're probably going to be doing a bit of resource gathering as well because I missed out on Chopping Tuesday this week. But in the meantime, I want to get some mud bricks, like packed mud and mud bricks. I want to get some rooted dirt, some coarse dirt, and the stone types, and we're going to be continuing pathways around this area. I think that makes a great deal more sense. Can you tell you what resource pack I'm using? We have a custom resource pack that's made by Fwip, who is the admin of Empires and one of the content creators on it. So he has this pack called Foliage, which he's been working on for a really long time, that changes a lot of stuff like plants have multiple variations. It also includes a reduced enchantment glow, so you'll see that they have kind of like streaks. If you look at the elytra, that's probably the best place to see it. You can kind of see those lines of enchantment cross it every so often. But it means that when we're using custom models and stuff on the server for custom equipment and various other bits and pieces, if somebody has like some differently designed elytra, especially, what that means is people can have that stuff without it being completely overwhelmed by the natural purple enchantment glow of Minecraft's default texture pack. And that can actually be achieved in a similar way if you go to vanillatweaks.net. They have a resource pack there called Unobtrusive Enchantment Glint, which is a bit of a mouthful, but if you want it, you can get it from there. And it's a very, very similar effect. Not precisely the same, but basically the same. AK Skull, Salient Bofa, and Hebe GB, thank you so much for the Prime sub, the 11 months, and gifting a sub. Very kind of you. Very kind of you all. We need to get some mossy stone bricks. I'll probably need to craft a few more of each of these. Yeah, let's do that. It was a nature texture pack. Didn't know that about the glow. Yeah, it's just one of those things where we just bundle everything into one texture pack now. So you could install all of those as separate modules, but Fwip just has them all running on the same texture pack folder. So
just prime.
Makes sense to do that, you know? 2APX, thank you so much for the 13 months of Prime. Thank you, thank you. And Shadow Knight gifting a sub as well. People being so generous with the gifted subs today. I appreciate that. Thank you. Anyway, we go out here and we work on paths some more. Watch your YouTube channel from all the other YouTubers and Empires. Me and friend love watching all the episodes. Hey, awesome. Thank you so much. So I think we'll grab the stone cutter. We'll make a few slabs and stuff like that. So my idea with this is that one half of this is still going to be intact. The other half, like, the hill has loosened. Like, the dirt around here has kind of, like, slid down towards the back half of this, and this water source embedded in the hill has opened up at some stage, and that's what's led to this waterfall down here. That's taken out the wall, like it's basically eroded the wall away. So there are sections here which have little like stairs and whatnot in here, and it all kind of filters down into here where it stops right now. I'm not certain if I'm going to do anything else with that. But in the meantime, yeah, that's the reason why this whole section is here. And I wanted to keep the wheat field here because it's still really useful for crafting packed mud and stuff. So, yeah, I'm going to have a little bit of mud around here, basically. That's going to lead up to the front of the catacombs. And we'll have some mud brick slabs there as, like, the path continues up here, right? But what I want to do with this area, especially with like the road design we have over here, is give the impression that this was all stone once and then mud has built up over the top of it. The mud bricks are really there, meant to be like they're kind of stone bricks where the mud has gotten into the cracks and has covered over all of this. And then stuff like rooted dirt and coarse dirt around the outside can blend it in with the grass. That's the idea. Really enjoyed the Behind the Lore episode. Hey, thank you so much. I'm really happy people liked that. I think the episode and Joey's episode were received really well, so that's ideal for me. Like, I love to see people getting into all of that stuff. I'm really happy people enjoyed it. And I have, like, so much more of that stuff planned that I can't talk about again because it's going to be a little while before you see any of it, and I don't want to ruin the surprise, but trust me, I got some good stuff planned. It's going to be very, very fun. I think we'll probably start taking out some of this for mossy stone brick as well. Maybe a bit of mossy cobblestone like around here. And then there's going to be bits that are still overgrown with grass. In the case of the moss, I'm probably going to shear the grass and bring it over here instead of bone mealing that, because bone mealing that will spread it to all of the blocks around the outside. And I think we'll do one of these. One of the things I'm really enjoying about moss is the fact that you can have that be like a full grass block without having to use Optifine connected grass, which I've never been a huge fan of, because not everyone's going to use it, right? So I kind of like the idea of having moss blocks in all the places where I don't want the sides of the dirt texture to show. So I'm thinking, yeah, we'll do a bit of stuff like this. We'll maybe put some rooted dirt in there. And that kind of feels like we have a path leading up here that's maybe been partly destroyed. Like if we end up putting a bit of like mud brick underneath here as well, like it can give the impression that this was once a pathway that led up here, but it's been eroded over time. Empires 2 is currently my favorite YouTube Minecraft thing. Hey, I'm so glad. It's honestly one of my favorite YouTube Minecraft things now. Like, obviously, I end up watching Hermitcraft more than anything else because of Hermitcraft Recap, but I'm having so much fun watching other people's Empires stuff, just keeping up with the stuff that I can, you know. Did somebody sleep? Oh, yeah, they did. Okay, good. I wasn't sure if the message popped up or not. It always goes away too fast. Why villagers always forget their beds? Villagers are weird and fickle creatures. Sometimes they just go for whatever's nearest to them, you know?
We create things as a reflection of this struggle. To study our perception.
Let's say this one's a regular stone brick. And then, yeah, we are gonna you're gonna have to remove, we're gonna move the enchanting setup. I know everyone's always made fun of me for like not really having a starter house and having all of my stuff just out in the open like this. We are going to eventually move all of this stuff into a permanent home. But we're probably going to have to move bits and pieces of it in the meantime. Enchantment said I could go under the nether portal in the tower. Nah, we're going to do something different. I've had a thing in mind that I've wanted to do for a really long time with an enchanting setup. Yeah, that's okay. We'll do mossy stone brick on this side. Yeah, I've had this idea for enchanting setup since I played on like Xbox. And I feel like now maybe I have the building skills to do it justice. But I want to do a really neat enchanting setup somewhere. And it's going to feel kind of anticlimactic when it's just an enchanting setup, because most of the enchanting that I've needed to do in this series is already done. So it's not like I'm going to be able to use it for all that much. But again, it's part of the story of the area, not necessarily my story. So that's okay. How do me and Lloyd decide who watches which hermit? We just divided them up between us, between like who we were already watching. Like some of them maybe our favorites, some of them just like you know, people we thought we would enjoy watching. Like, Zloy was already watching a bunch of them just for leisure anyway, right? So he decided that he would continue watching those people, and then we kind of split stuff up between us. But at the beginning, he was watching all of them writing the script by himself, and I just read it. So yeah, kind of an interesting discussion had to be had to be like, so who should I actually watch when I start doing this? You know what, we'll put that one in there. We'll put that there, and we'll keep this as a standard grass block, I think. Because it makes sense that more of the mud would have accumulated around this farmland. Teenybit, thank you so much for gifting those 5 subs to the community. Folks in the chat, once again, if you have been gifted a sub on the stream, please make sure you thank these very generous sub gifters. Did I see the lore you thought up in comments of the Guardian statue building video? Yes, but I mean,
Well,
like,
that's
the idea I'm having is that my idea is going to be separate from a lot of ideas that people in the community are having, because, like, I like everybody to have their own headcanon kind of thing. I'm not going to be adopting anything that I see in my comments as lore for my area unless, you know, it was an idea that just like, of course, that's the explanation. It couldn't be anything else, right? Like, I'm trying to keep my own interpretation of how things are going separate from the fandoms, if that makes any sense, because I like the idea of the fandom having their own original ideas and not, like, then taking that from other people or whatever, right? I'm fine if anybody else on Empires does that. Like, I don't think it's weird if they have that kind of relationship with their fan base, but personally I want to keep everything kind of... I have my own ideas. It's like how, you know, Minecraft themselves don't have... They have a story in mind for the world of Minecraft, right? Like, they have ideas that this is the reason why zombies exist and why piglins zombify when they go to the overworld and why Endermen are the way they are and all of that stuff. Like, they have a kind of loose sense of what the world is and why the world operates the way it does, but they don't tell players any of that because they find it more interesting seeing what players come up with as part of the story. And I think I'm kind of leaning in the same direction with this, not to put myself on level terms with the storytellers at Mojang, but like, I do want to have my own idea of what's going on, but encourage the fandom to speculate about that stuff. So, like, if I seem like I'm ignoring any of that stuff, even if people post it, like, repeatedly in my comments, I'm not ignoring it, but I don't want to necessarily say, like, yes, that's what's happened, you know? I just want to encourage people to come up with their own take on events. Viking, thanks so much for that brand new Prime sub to the channel. And now I haven't picked a name for the Empire yet, other than just the Ancient Capital, because I feel like its name at this point is just kind of lost to history. And if I come up with something, I'll come up with it myself in the later stages of the series. I think that's the way I'm going to do it. Let's put one of these there. I think... This is just my lazy way of routing around the storage system right now, but I think we could actually have a path that kind of goes this way and have a wall, another wall like here, maybe. In fact, like, doing this the way I did the roads in Pixandria, which was like every road connects to every other road, we could have a wall here, and this path could go that way and around, but we could still have a road that goes that way as well. It'll just have to connect up over there to, I don't know, something. Because this section here has a little cutaway, but that's just because it was the way to my hole in the wall. Need to start mixing this with regular stone as well. I'm putting too much stone brick everywhere. It's good to draft stuff with stone brick. It's nice and easy to remove afterwards, but yeah, I think it does make a little bit of sense to have a wall here. And I think of these a lot of the time as just like access ramps and stuff almost. Because if there's going to be like a straight staircase here that leads down a couple of steps, then it's also nice to have like a sloping pathway around the side, right? When will be my next intro with the voiceover and the map? When it seems like it's worth doing one. Like, I don't have any kind of outline for those. I just do them when something significant shifts in the story. And I feel like we're still finding our feet with this season, really. Like, we're still trying to figure out the direction things are going. We don't have any sort of fully established heroes and villains, factions, or anything yet. It's all still a little bit up in the air, you know? Am I going to try making an unstackable item sorter using clone delays? Maybe. Maybe we'll do that in Survival Guide, yeah. We don't have the option to clone delays on Empires because we're still on 119, but... sooner or later, I'm sure we'll come up with something. But yeah, not with these guys. Any ideas for your mini super smelter, or will live forever in the ruins? You glass box it? No, this is going to move. I don't know where, if anywhere, I'm going to set up like a full smelter array kind of thing, but we'll maybe do it somewhere. Like an ancient forge kind of thing, potentially. We'll see. Can you not update a server once it's been started? Oh, no, you can. We just haven't yet. And there's no reason, really, why we haven't. It's more just, like, you know, it's a bit of a hassle to do it, because you have to make sure all of the mods are compatible, and we have a custom-coded mod on this server, which, I mean, I assume could be updated to 119.2, but, like, we just haven't bothered yet, because honestly, like, one of my philosophies when it comes to running anything technological is that, like, if it works, then you can leave it working for a while and not update it instantly, unless you really have to, unless that's like part of the technology, or unless there are like critical issues with it. Like, I tend to hold off on updating software, updating like my phone operating system and stuff, because there are always teething problems when new stuff comes out. And so, like, with it, when it comes to updating for mods and everything else, like updating a server like this, with there being a 119.1 and then so quickly after being a 119.2, you maybe want to like wait for the dust to settle a little bit before you update, because otherwise you're just going to be constantly updating everything while they put out .3.4. Which I don't think they're going to do at this point. Like, I'd imagine they're done, but don't know that for certain. So, nice to keep things on the down low until we have a better idea of that. Aren't really any updates in 119.2 worth going through all that work for anyway. Well, that's what we were saying, the allay duplication thing, which there's probably like a backport mod for 119, so we may end up using that instead, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. I need to go and get some dirt, I think, or some grass. Who will admin the Empire server while Whip's away? A couple of people have admin access, I think. I'm not one of them. But frankly, the server won't need a huge amount of that. Like, it might need the occasional reset or kick if it crashes, but most of that stuff is done automatically anyway. And I believe he's not going away after his wedding until, like, maybe a couple of weeks after. But I don't know all the details. For the most part, though, I think it's going to be pretty chill. Like, the server hasn't needed any major attention for the last little while, as far as I understand. And this is the problem where we don't really have any, like, grass or dirt slabs or anything. Which is why packed mud slabs would be really good, but no, we just get the mud brick ones. Maybe we can use some wood or something for that. Like jungle wood or something. Try jungle slabs. Or maybe spruce or something, potentially. You want vertical slabs? Oh, you just gotta wait 7 years for Hightail to come out. Yeah, that'll do. They work well enough with the mud slabs. And before jungle slabs to throw back to Pixandria, right? Dirt should just get snow layer treatment. I would love that. Dirt and sand layers would be really cool. But either way, like, doesn't matter hugely. Let's move these melons. I've not needed these melons basically ever. Bundle those. Need to rebuild some trees around here as well. Like, I have a couple of them already. I have these, like, mangrove custom trees around the place. I need more of them. Paxtron, I'm going to guess yes, because I have absolutely no idea what you're talking about. I've never heard of that, whatever that is. Be lurking doing some Minecrafting yourself? Love to hear it. Enjoy. Yeah, we'll just use the natural boundary of this cow pen. We won't overthink it too much. I mean, we're going to overthink it, but we won't overthink it too much. Magpie Life, thanks so much for the 12 months. Everyone spam the word nerd in the chat, please. Thank you very, very much for supporting the channel for a full year. Enjoy your new nerd sub badge. Welcome to the Nerd Herd. Happy to have you. So keep an eye on that sheriff, whatever he's up to. Pudgelows BB8, thank you for the 6 months as well. And getting crafted with the 500 bits. We also had the $6 earlier. I want to say thank you for the survival guide. It's been a huge tool for my progress. Thank you. Hey, you're welcome. Tactical Satsuma, thank you for the 25 months. Welcome back. Just made your own triple cave spider farm based on the water stream transport method from survival guide. I hope it went well. Cave spiders are a pain in the butt to work with, so my sympathies, but hopefully it went well. Also, Sheamus, thank you so much for the 13 months. Hope you're doing well too. And Jadzia with the 6 months. The 6-month resub's coming in hot today. Let's put those in there for now. Have I upgraded Jimmy's gunpowder farm yet? No, I've been away for like 5 days. Just been away from home, so I have not really been able to do anything since the statue and the video that went up on Tuesday, Monday, whichever day it was, doing the skull fort thing for Joey. That was something that I already had like uploaded and scheduled to go out when Joey's episode came out. So yeah, I've not really been able to do anything on the server since really last Thursday. Let's get a mud brick going over here as well. And then this can go there. Can have a little bit of jungle plank action again. Some stone. See, that's kind of nice. Like, it's not super structured. But, like, from the air especially. Like, if you're looking at this from above, it's just, like, it gives the general vibe, right? Shadow Knight with 100 bits. Thank you for the 100 bits. Kitsune with the 14 months. And El Basker with the 5 months. Thank you so much for the resubs. Should I make a command saying, no, I'm not going to Whip's wedding? It's like everybody is coming and asking that at this point. But no, I'm going to be around making Empires videos whilst the others are all away at that. So I should be able to get some cheeky stuff done. Which I'm looking forward to. No, I'm not actually going to make a command for that. That seems a little excessive. There we go.
Well,
so we can have this be
just prime.
It kind of lines up with the entrance on either side, like here and here. Yeah, that works. Rat Bones, thank you for the prime sub. And this is going to be more like the straight up and down path on this side. Maybe have a central block there and then do one of these. Cowing, Stardust, thank you for the 100 bits and the 190 bits. Sure, bit of a weird staircase, why not? Oh, getting dark out here. Something about that in the background, just like the way the glass texture looks, it kind of shimmers like that, made me think fountain. And I'm like, we should have a fountain somewhere around here. Obviously, like, dried up at this point, right? Because what would be keeping it running? It'd be all clogged with dust at this stage. Kay the River Cat, thank you for the 14 months. J Sketchpunk, we already got a hype train. The hype train won't be back for another couple of hours. It is on cooldown right now. Yeah, so the idea somewhere around here like up high somewhere. Probably up in one of these areas. I want to extend the landscape upwards. And I want to have a river that starts somewhere around here and, like, leads down that way, probably, towards the lake. It, like, feeds into the lake where the Great Bridge is. Because I want there to be, like, a castle that's redirected it. Probably along this ridge of hills is the idea. I mean, it might be from up there somewhere, but... Am I going to do another Vigil this season? No, I'd have had to start that already, probably. And, no, I don't want to just repeat the same ideas I had last season. Much as, like, thematically, stuff like death is still coming up, obviously. I don't want it to be, like, here's that thing I do again, you know? I don't want it to just be, like, my trademark and then I never really have anything else, you know? What's the best way to start making a town? There's a lot of different ways, really. I think doing some research is always the best way to start any major project, especially something as complex as a town. So look at existing towns. Look at the kinds of towns that you want to build. If you want to build something that's more like a traditional suburban, contemporary American town, they're always built on grids because it's easier for navigation. They've got the wide open space. They can. Alternatively, if you're building something that feels a little bit more like it was established a while ago when they didn't have the capacity or the landscape to have flat grid roads everywhere. They had to work with the landscape to form roads around hills and things that were more difficult to get a horse and cart up back in the day, right? Then you've got to consider structuring your pathways and stuff around the ridges of hills. Maybe dig a tunnel through them, that kind of thing. But then nobody's going to be living in that tunnel, so the tunnel has to lead through to somewhere. You've got to build these things outwards organically because those things were built organically to begin with. Like every American town after America was colonized by, you know, the Spanish, the Dutch, the British, everybody who came over. Like those towns would be built from kind of like pioneer times and just like built around a community hub with a general store and like probably a church and all of that kind of stuff. So like you can start from those central elements and build outwards when it comes to residences. I think people often start with a house because that's what they're used to living in, so that's how they structure their world. Whereas I think if you're thinking as a community, if you're building a town as though a ton of people live there, you've really got to start with central ideas like where are people going to gather? Where are people going to get food? Where are people going to trade? You know, like building some kind of trading square makes a lot of sense. Like build a mayor's house. I mean, a town hall, that's the thing. Like, you know, the mayor is not going to move there and be like, I'm the mayor and I'm the first one who gets a house. You know what I mean? You can start with that if you have a vision for like, okay, that's going to be overlooking the town from a certain area. And like, there is really no wrong way to do this, right? There's no wrong answer here. So I don't want people to think like this is the way you have to build a town. But I like to think if you're trying to structure it first, think about how it would have started and have it grow organically from there. A really good thing to always ask is, why is there a town here? Yeah, and especially, like, if you look at what Joel Duggan is doing on the Citadel right now, I know this from example because we've talked about it a lot on our podcast. He's built his town on a river because it's a medieval town and they would need access to water. And you can pump water up from underground from wells, but having it structured around a river means that trade can come down the river, that people can get water and clean their clothes and all of that kind of stuff. And it can be, like, the river can be controlled as well. So you can move the river around, you can set up a system of canals, you can have, like, gates, locks, you know, you can do a ton of different stuff like that. And structuring it around a river gives you a really cool way to do that. Plus you get to build stuff like bridges, which look really cool. Like, there's a lot of stuff you can do. The first thing to build were maybe farms and windmills. That's the thing. Don't build a farm or a windmill anywhere you want to build stuff that's, like, central, if you're trying to build something that feels like a realistic town. Because those would realistically be on the outskirts, because, like, that's where the farmland is free and open and everything. Like, you build that a little bit further away from your town center because the town isn't necessarily going to grow around a farm and encircle the farm in buildings. Like, you've got to think about that as being something that needs to happen in areas that you know people aren't going to be building. There's some cool, like, options. And again, these are... learn the rules so that you can feel confident breaking them later, right? I think that's a lot of what this is just here are a selection of loose ideas that we can string together into something that vaguely resembles a town, but feel free to break any of these rules if, like, because they're not really rules after all, if you feel like you can do away with them. Think like a community rather than a single person. Yeah, absolutely. And, like, if you're structuring it around it being like a real town, then you've got to consider, is that what real is for Minecraft? Is that what real is for real life? Because in Minecraft, players have very different needs to people in real life, right? Like, players don't need a store where they can go and buy food to eat. It helps if you're on a server and you can do stuff like that, but, like, as a player, we're so used to structuring bases around, like, okay, I need a place to sleep, I need a place to store my items, I need a place to do potion brewing, I need a place for enchanting, I need a place for smelting, and you tick all of those boxes, and if you want to, you can create different houses that represent each of them. But if you're trying to build a place that really feels like it's got a story and it's alive, then it can sometimes get in your way to think that way, you know? It can sometimes feel a little bit like you're just playing to what the game gives you instead of your own imagination. Smarty Helen, thank you so much for the 9 months. Welcome in. I'm not moving the enchantment setup into the catacombs jewel keys. I am planning something else for it. But that's not going to be happening for a little while, so yeah, in the meantime, the enchantment setup is staying there looking sort of out of place with everything that I'm building right now. But that's fine.
Well, that's just prime.
Sly, Firefly, thank you for the brand new Prime sub. Brand new Prime sub to the channel. Enjoy your emotes and your sub badge. Welcome to the Pixels. Oh, the LA, like, startled me then for a second. I was like, who is this? Who is this little man coming to see me? Hello. We can do occasional little dents in the road like that as well. We'll do 1 or 2 of these. I think it's feasibly going to connect up over here, right? We'll figure out something to go here, I'm not certain what. Thoughts about using armor stands to put heads inside the chests where the bodies are stored? Too many chests, too little time, and I don't want the place to get too laggy, but, I mean, I like the idea in theory. But, like, yeah, throwing a ton of entities into this place, not always what I want to do, because it's the same reason I didn't put item frames on a bunch of the chests to label them, right? It's because, like, that kind of stuff builds up over time, and the area gets kind of laggy, and that means, you know, it starts to get laggy before I even know fully what I'm building here, which is really not what I want. Tried to make a slime farm in the style of the general all mob farm in a swamp, but not much is spawning there. Slimes need a lot more like flat area to spawn generally if you're building it in a swamp. and you can limit other mob spawns more effectively by using brown mushrooms on basically every block. Like, there's a really cool Ilmango design, or a Psycraft design, I'm not sure if it's Ilmango specifically, but Doc M built one on Hermitcraft. Based on an idea that Mumbo had, where it's just like a big flat platform in the swamp. Jaboylan, thanks so much for that brand new Prime sub to the channel. Enjoy your emotes and your sub badge. Welcome to the Pixels. There's a very specific Y level you need to pay attention to. That too. And that's mainly if you're building in, like an underground slime farm. There's Y levels you need to pay attention to, but I believe that's also the case in the swamps. Great Taz, thank you for the 2 months of Prime. Welcome back. Happy to have you. We need to make sure we have a little bit of this kind of pathway effect going on around here too. Oh, wrong one. There it is. Because otherwise, how will people know where the pathway truly is? Use any specific kinds of references when I start a build theme? I mean, I go for just whatever inspires me at the moment, and then I start doing Google image searches. So, like, in this case, I was looking for, like, old buildings, abandoned buildings, stuff that's, like, overgrown in the forest somewhere. Like, ruins of ancient civilizations. Like, I'm looking for all kinds of stuff. Everything becomes a jumble of images, and you sift through and you find the ones that really speak to you. What am I not using here? Probably the cobblestone. So cool how you can incorporate your own foot traffic when making pathways. Yeah, that's something that people used to call me out for in Survival Guide Season 1, where I built a bridge between my storage system and my starter house area, and I always used to just, like, hop along the wall. And they were like, why didn't you build that bridge like 2 blocks over so that you just walk down the center of the bridge? And I'm like, sometimes I like to be up higher. I like to be able to see. I'm like a cat. You know how cats like to be on top of the fridge or whatever so that they can see all of the stuff around them? That's why cat trees are a popular product. I'm basically like that. Plus, it meant that I could jump down, activate my wings without hitting the ground again, and fly away really easily. So let's go find coarse dirt, which should be down here with the dirt variants. There it is. We have a couple of stacks of it. I like to feel tall, like a few people on this server, it turns out. Adopt a cat? I'd love to adopt a cat. But, sometimes that stuff is a little more difficult than just doing it. For a start, I don't own a car yet. Although, that's going to change next month. But, yeah, not having a way to get a cat to, like, vet appointments and all of the stuff that we need to do if we adopted an animal, like, not the easiest thing. What makes an item an entity compared to just a block? Entities typically aren't snapped to the grid. There are tile entities, which are things like enchanting tables, item frames, furnaces technically are entities instead of blocks, but that's a different kind of category. But entities are things like mobs. They don't necessarily have to have AI, like an armor stand is an entity, but they're things which are not necessarily fixed to the grid. And they are processed differently by the game. Is there a new build coming to the base? I mean, there's always going to be new builds. I don't have anything specific in mind aside from I'm building a tower around this, but I don't have a specific design in mind for that yet. Because I've been away and I haven't been able to design stuff while I've been away, so I need to get back into my creative build world and try a few things. But we'll get there eventually. Tile entities are additional logic associated with a block, so they're technically different from entities, yeah. Basically, this game is way more complex than it sounds. You're like, oh, I just punch things and craft stuff out of wood. It's a little bit more complicated than that. So I think maybe we're going to have just like a little boundary kind of thing here. Right outside this person's front door, but like a little roundabout. I don't think this is where the fountain's going to go, but it could. How can you tell if something is an entity or not? Ask it. No, there's probably articles about that on the Minecraft wiki that will clarify some things for you. Basically, if it does more than just sit there in the world, probably an entity. Prototype, thank you so much for the 3 months. Got Twitch just to follow you, time flies. Thanks for the awesome content. Hey, thank you for supporting the channel for 3 months. That's amazing. We also had Tismar, thank you so much for that brand new Prime sub to the channel. Excuse me, sir. Are you an entity? Allays are definitely entities. They're like the most entity of anything. Because they feel ethereal. We could fit another building in here, but who's going to be right next to the catacombs, you know? Maybe another civic building. Maybe a tree. Like, trees would be good. We could put a tree here. That could be something that the road diverges around. Diverge is a good word. Why am I not using my shovel? Because, I don't know. Sometimes the shovel is too fast. If I just want to break one block at a time, if I'm only placing one block at a time, it doesn't really matter. What other games do I play for fun when not playing Minecraft? What have I been playing recently? I got back into Hades a little while ago. I don't tend to play console games all that much, so most of the stuff I play is on PC, and most of the time when I'm at my PC, I'm just like, alright, what are we doing in Minecraft today? So, there's not a great variety of stuff. I pick up games on the Switch every so often. Like I played Pokemon Sword and Shield, I played Pokemon Legends Arceus, I played Breath of the Wild. But I don't buy games on Switch all the time, you know? Other stuff I love on Steam, Stardew Valley will always have a special place in my heart, as will Celeste. Any of the other Supergiant games, not just Hades, but like Transistor, Pyre, those are all great. Played Elden Ring recently, and that was an experience, like, incredible game. Really, really enjoyed Elden Ring. Love a bit more mossy stone brick in here, I think. And maybe this and this could be mossy stone brick. Yeah, I never played either of the World Ends With You games, but I've heard they're good. I didn't own a DS, or I did, but for a very brief period of time before I traded it in again. So, yeah, I feel like I missed out on a lot of really good games in that sort of space, you know? A tree with a water source inside of it, like a Fountain of Youth kind of thing? Yeah, maybe. Again, like, all sorts of ideas we could do around here. I'm just trying to think of what makes sense. If the road splits around here, again, this is the kind of thinking about the paths we did in Pixandria, having like a little flower bed kind of thing there. Not be a bad idea. Or building a tree, or anything like that. One of these. Get the original on Switch with its touchscreen controls. Yeah. Let's do coarse dirt here. Little areas like that. If I could add any mob to Minecraft, what do I think I'd choose? I don't know. I've answered this question a number of times and I can never remember my answers, and so I don't answer them very often at the risk of feeling inconsistent. Honestly, a lot of the other ideas they've had, like the glare and the copper golem, I think were all really fun. Like, I think if they still plan on adding those with future updates, I think they'll all bring some really interesting stuff to the game. I would really like more uses for copper, so I think copper golem is probably my second choice, but the glare would be really good. Do I play a D&D? I do, yeah. I have a somewhat regular game that I play with the 8-bit community here on Twitch. And my home game is currently on hiatus, but we want to come back pretty soon. What do I think about 1D&D? I don't know what that is. So I'm not so into D&D that I have, like, an encyclopedic knowledge of everything that's going on with it. I just kind of, like, punching things in my imagination. Punching imaginary monks. It's mostly what we're doing right now. It's a new release by Wizards of the Coast. What does it entail? I know that Spelljammer expansion came out recently, and people have been saying a lot of good things about that. What was the Copper Golem going to do if it had won the mob vote? The Copper Golem would come with copper buttons, and it would press any copper buttons that it found. So you could potentially use it to randomize or automate certain things. The impression that we got from the developers was that it was really just there to add a bit more life to your base. So the idea that it would have like a series of little trapdoors or something that it could come out of, press a button, go back through the trapdoors, seek out other buttons. You could do some interesting stuff with pathfinding if you wanted to. Like there was a few potential uses for it, but overall, the community decided that the LA sounded more useful. Or, like, they liked the design better or what have you. One thing that I would love is if you bone mealed grass to get tall grass, and that spread to neighboring blocks that could also generate tall grass, like this moss here, without you having to bone meal the moss and risk destroying all the blocks around it, or replacing them with more moss. Oh yeah, the other thing about copper golems is that they would age through the different stages of copper, and when they reached oxidized copper, they'd basically seize up and become statues. Which is a cool idea. We need more hostile underwater mobs. We have drowned guardians and elder guardians, that's it. Why though? Honestly, like, nobody builds in the oceans anyway. I say nobody. People do, but it's not a particularly common thing for people to do because drowning is an environmental hazard common to ocean bases, and I don't see people being encouraged to build in the oceans more if there's just another hostile thing. It just makes crossing oceans more annoying unless it has something seriously useful about it, which it could, of course, because you can add any kind of, like, drops or whatever for new blocks, but, like, I don't see people enjoying new ocean editions that much. It's just one of those things that people think we should have on principle, is what I find, and I'm not the biggest fan of that being an excuse to add an idea. A mob that attacks boats. I'm drowned with tridents do that anyway. And then, like, yeah, it's... The thing about drowned with tridents knocking you out of boats, it's more annoying than anything else. Right? Like, it doesn't necessarily feel like a challenge, it feels like an interruption. Have I been looking at any IRL ruins for some inspiration? Yes, I've also been looking at video game environments. I think as, you know, considering we're building stuff inside a video game, you can learn a lot from the way environment designers from other video games have structured their environments, because they're always looking at it from the perspective of a first-person player, I mean, mostly a first-person player, going around an environment like this, like lines of sight and stuff like that being involved, like what do they find? I think there's some really interesting stuff to be found there, so, like, IRL ruins, yeah, absolutely. Find that stuff, it's always really useful, but don't limit yourself to that, because a lot of the time, those environment designers for other video games will also have looked at IRL ruins, and they'll have seen stuff that you haven't, and you can learn from how they interpreted that for the video game. A lot of ruins in Skyrim? Yeah. From what I understand, yeah. I've not played Skyrim, so I don't know. I'm one of the few people left in the world who hasn't played Skyrim. IRL ruins need to obey the laws of gravity in the real world? Yes. Archaeo Plays knows this very well. Is this too close to this? I think we need to have the tree in a different aspect. We need to have it be more like coming out there and then maybe back, instead of it being side-to-side tree is what we have over there. I'm not sure tree is the right thing for this, you know? I feel like we need more space for it. And I feel like it's just going to be in front of something that I'm already a big fan of looking at. So I don't think this is the right place for it. Yeah, maybe a little flower bed or something. I don't know. I do want to build more trees, though. I want to build a tree like here or over there. I think this little hill would be a good place for one. It's kind of alongside this. It's not going to get in the way of the statue. The cows are right here. We found a small ponds, maybe ponds, but even that is a pretty small space for one. And we have a little pond in here, which I think is a really neat place to have one. But there's just like a little watery space down there, slightly overgrown at this point because who's maintaining it? But I like the fact that there was just this little trough of water down there. But yeah, for now, maybe we do, like, little mossy space. Roundabout. Is Empire's on 119 too? No, just 119. Just straight 119. Sure. Random bump on the ground. Yep. That's what that is. Basically. Fix mushrooms on mushroom cows. I think that might have been fixed in the most recent update to the texture pack. I could be wrong. Finally got moved back into college. I can relax enough to catch a stream before classes start next week. Cool stuff. Yeah, I'll be streaming again on Sunday, but this Sunday we're potentially going to be streaming Dungeons & Dragons because we skipped last week's session because I was away. Is an arrow to something in the future? Is it telling us to go that way? No. I mean, the road is hopefully telling us to go that way. Put a bit of rooted dirt in. Maybe one more muddy brick over here. Whimsy, thank you for the 6 months. I am having a great day. Thank you for asking. Pretty tired, to be honest. Like, if I'm... I'm not normally the most energetic streamer, but if I'm especially, like, laid back today, that is why. Last night we had the most spectacular storm I've ever been part of. I live in Brighton on the south coast of the UK, and a storm came through at about, I want to say, like, just before 5, woke me up with how loud it was. Like, both the rain on the roof outside of our bedroom and the thunder. And there weren't any lightning strikes, like, directly by our house. I think a lot of it was further out to the south of us, like out to sea. But, man, there was a lot of it. Like, it was constant flashes of lightning. And, I did post a video of it to Twitter if you folks follow me on Twitter or you want to go take a look, it was pretty intense. And the video I posted was a video I took like after it had died down a little bit. We were getting flashes like every couple of seconds at some points of that. It was pretty intense. I went and got some groceries before I had to return the rental car that we hired to drive up north, and yeah, the lady at the checkout said that like it spooked her cats, and I was like, oh. It's the thing about having animals, right? So they're always a little bit spooked by loud noises like that, sudden thunderstorms, fireworks, all that kind of stuff. In London, there was a huge amount of rain around midnight. Yeah, I expect you were getting the tail end of bits of it sweeping through. I think maybe we can put a tree over here. Maybe, I don't know. I also don't know if I want to keep these cows here, because this doesn't really feel like a... This feels like a cow lobster pot. They've wandered in and not been able to get back out. But that's the only real reason there would be any cows here. Because nobody's maintaining this herd aside from, you know, me. So we may end up moving the cows. Cat always hides in the cupboard during storms. Yeah, I mean, some cats are like that. Some cats don't worry about it too much. But, yeah, having definitely had a very scared cat, as one of ours was... not very keen on loud noises like the vacuum cleaner and everything. The Sneaky Turtle, thank you for the 16 months. Hillary, thank you for the 10 months. Welcome back. Let's fly up to the top here and take a quick look. Yeah, it certainly feels a little wider. It needs more set pieces around here to distinguish the paths from up higher, but we're getting the overall effect that I wanted. I like moss carpet. I think we need to have more moss carpet in here to cover some of the drier looking grass here and there. My dog hates all loud noises except storms. He just wants to play in the rain. Yeah. Sounds about right. Have I tried Deltarune? I played Chapter 1. I haven't gone any further into it than that. I know Chapter 2 came out a little while ago, but it didn't have the same vibe for me. Like, it's clearly a continuation of a similar story, but, like, I don't know. It didn't feel like it had the immediate kind of gut punch kind of thing that Undertale did. And he's probably building towards a different story. That's fine. I just didn't quite feel like it had the magic that Undertale did. My cat can sleep through anything? Yeah. There are definitely cats that are like that too. Moss and moss carpet are lifesavers in dry biomes? Yeah. As somebody who lives in a savanna right now, yeah. Although I am liking the savanna a lot. I feel like it suits the vibe of what we're building here. Yeah, I've seen all the builds on the Great Bridge so far. I went and looked at those in basically my next video. So, I don't know when that's going to come out, because there's a couple of other things I want to record for it that I haven't been able to schedule yet, but we'll hopefully see what's happening with that soon. Somebody just reminded me that's what we need to go looking for. I had an epiphany earlier. And by an epiphany, I mean I remembered something in the game that I often forget exists. So we're going to stash all of that stuff in there and I'm going to go looking for it. We need dead bushes in this place, and I can't believe I haven't done that sooner. Just one of those things where I was like, of course. Like how moss is the same no matter what biome you're in. It's good. It's very good. Like, moss being this color is such an important part of the game now. You have no idea. That and, like, azalea leaves.
Well, that's just prime.
Chef's kiss. We needed more leaves that were the same color in every biome. Harry Bry, thank you so much for the 7 months. Progressive Survival Guide and Empires has been epic. Massive kudos. You're a man for the legend. Hey, thank you. Yeah. We need to go and get dead bushes. So I need to grab some shears. I have a set in here. I need to go and find like a bunch of dead bushes, probably in like the mesa that I've been to already. Does anyone remember when they were both dead bushes and shrubs? I was always confused by that. I don't recall that. But I like the idea of there being, like, obviously, like, azaleas, right? You've got azalea bushes like this. I need to have more of those that have just, like, not got any leaves on anymore, and that's just, like, dead bushes. Would I consider TNT duping cheating? Depends who you're cheating. Like, if you're on a server and everybody's agreed not to dupe TNT and you do it, yes, that's cheating. The rest of the time, I think it's fair game, to be honest. Like, it's a good way of getting a bunch of resources in ways that you couldn't otherwise, on a scale that you couldn't otherwise. Like, that stuff is important. Like, is it an exploit? Yes. Is it cheating? Depends how you use it. Because I think to be cheating, it really has to feel like somebody else is being screwed over, you know? Like, are you misrepresenting how you got all of those things? Are you lying to somebody about whether or not you dupe TNT? That's what really crosses the line over into unfair play at that point. There's tropical fish here. Don't worry about it. Can you dupe TNT in Bedrock? I don't believe so. It is one of those things that's a sort of unique quirk of Java. Cheating requires a violation of rules and also a victim? Yeah, So here is what I'm talking about. Dead bushes all over the place in the Badlands. You know what's really weird? You can plant dead bushes on terracotta. It's one of those things that never really occurs to me, but I'm like, yeah, of course you can do that. They're everywhere here. But it's one of the only, like, non-dirt variant blocks that you can actually plant stuff on. It's like clay and small drip leaf, and you're like, okay, I guess. I have small drip leaf now, actually. We could do something with that at the ruins. Yeah, you can just plant it on terracotta. I'm like, really? You can't put them on, like, stone. Where would the roots go? Should have brought an allay with me, but they're such a pain to move long distances. I brought them back from here to begin with. I should have left one. Had it collect dead bushes for me. Would I like dead bushes to be renewable in some way? Honestly, I don't use them frequently enough because they're just a decorative thing. And you can get an abundance of them this way. It's sort of like lily pads, where it's like, it's cool that they're renewable. But they're not used in any crafting recipes. They aren't an ingredient for anything. So, like, just being able to get them like this seems like enough. But honestly, I like the idea of virtually anything being renewable. But I also think scarcity should still exist, and it provides quite a fundamental piece of balance in some aspects of the game. So, I don't know. Catch me on a different day and I'll answer a completely different way, probably. With the new mud clay drying mechanic, I wonder if we could do the same with leaves one day to make dead bushes. Or azaleas. I feel like azalea bushes would make more sense, the little shrubs. Like if you put one of those on a dripstone block and it dries out or something. Put it on a magma block, I don't know. There's ways you could do stuff like that, and that'd make it renewable. But again, why? Because I already have my third stack of them from here, and it's not like they're feeling any less abundant here in the mesa. It's kind of the same reason they don't make small drip leaf renewable. It's like, it's cool to have occasional rare things that aren't super fundamental, but they can do some fun stuff if you want them to. Like, dead bushes will break down into sticks. A small drip leaf can be bone mealed to turn into big drip leaf, even though you can get big drip leaf renewably by bone mealing that. Alright, that's our third stack. We'll probably just break this set of shears and then head home. Do wandering traders trade dead bushes? You know, I don't know. I think they might. Seems like the kind of thing they would have. But then again, imagine players buying dead bushes and then being like, what do I do with this? Dead bush under a mangrove root block equals dried up bush. I mean, what's the difference between a dead bush and a dried up bush? Plants typically die when they're out of water. Or like nutrients from the soil, I guess, but... Winnie T. Ford, thank you for the 25 months. Welcome back. Tell that to my cactus I haven't watered in weeks. Well, yeah, cacti are different. Cacti are built different. I planned something for the enchanting setup and super smelters. I have ideas. That doesn't mean I planned anything. The trader has all sorts of things you don't need at the moment. True. Azalea tree should have had a different wood. On the one hand, yeah, I would like them to have had a different type of wood. On the other hand, they're a really useful way of getting oak wood that doesn't involve occasionally growing pointlessly tall trees. So I'm actually kind of okay with it. What's the point of the buttons on the ice road? Spawn proofing. Mobs can spawn on solid blocks. Packed ice is a solid block. Basically, if any mobs spawn on that pathway, it means that I stop dead in the middle of the road and have to fight something. Especially if it's like hoglins and stuff, you don't really want that happening. I like there being a few elements around here. Like, we've got the moss, which feels like it's full of life, and then we've got the rooted dirt that feels a bit more kind of dried out, and there's dead bushes growing on it. I like the idea of there being a lot of that dichotomy of life and death going on here. For obvious reasons, right? Like in here I had an azure bluet in there. I was saving this other flower pot so we could put a dead bush in it. There's a few other flower pots around here as well. I've got just occasional ornaments in these alcoves. Here and there. Mushroom there. Our little amethyst things. Yeah, I don't really see many others. There's a couple of spots like down here. I don't think I put any flower pots. Hey, Mr. Badger Seth, thank you so much for the 40 months. How's holiday up north? It was good. Went to Yorkshire Sculpture Park. Saw a lot of sculptures. Can you put the bush over glazed terracotta? No. Because it's been glazed, hasn't it? There we go. Put that one there. But yeah, we could have dead bushes on here, you know? Something like that. Maybe a couple of flowers or grass or something. Should we be excited for Minecraft now? I don't know. That's entirely up to you, friend. That kind of works. Maybe if we get some of the dandelions around there. Like a tiny one. And yeah, we can have little bushes around the outside of here as well, but that also depends what we end up building here, if anything. See you later, Blast Jordan. Have a good one. How does the fire at spawn work? Is that a mod? We did command blocks for it. To pull back the curtain on that one, I set up something with command blocks. It detects whether an extinguished regular campfire is there, replaces it with a lit soul campfire, and changes the weather to thunder. Which on Java happens for a default time of 5 minutes if you just do /weather thunder. And then, yeah, I basically did the opposite thing for the extinguished soul campfire, like it resets the weather. And puts a regular lit campfire back in its place. There's this little hole in the ground that I'm probably just going to cover up. Like, I've not needed this for anything. I sort of wonder if... like, the alternative would be to turn this into, like, a little scar in the landscape, like a little ravine or something. But I don't know for what or why. How does one distinguish between an extinguished soul campfire and a normal campfire? You don't have to, because the game does it in this case. But I don't think there's really a difference in terms of how they appear. You look at it with F3 and it tells you which one it is. Like, it's in the code. It's part of the data. Because then, obviously, if you relit it, the game has to know whether it's gonna come up with a blue flame or a orangey red one. Anonymous Cheerer, thank you for the 100 bits. In Whip's texture pack, Soul Campfire has spruce wood. Does it? Oh, okay. That makes sense. Yeah, I think we'll just cover that over for now. If we want to do more interesting terrain formation, we can just do that. We don't have to obey the natural terrain in order to do it. Let's see if any of that ended up down here. Only one of each. Okay. And this one goes down here. It doesn't have automatic sorting. hard bricks here, coarse dirt there. Do you plan on decorating around the world spawn? Yeah, probably. Sooner or later. Obviously, we're all working on our own bases and stuff. World spawn just has to be a place where we reappear. How's the frog lights commerce? I mean, it's all I trade on this server, and people have been wanting them in various amounts, so it's going pretty well, I guess. Another Mangrovia-like project? Maybe. Mangrovia wasn't really at spawn, and we don't necessarily want community projects like that to be the centerpiece of the world, you know? Because obviously they're really important, but they're also very hastily put together. In the case of Mangrovia, we were building all kinds of bizarre and interesting trees for people, and that was super fun, but I will freely admit that a lot of the trees did not look all that great as far as the standard of builds we have on this server, just because we were building them with a very limited amount of time. There we go. I feel happier with that being covered up, and there's obviously like a bit of earthworks over here that we could use if we wanted to. How long do I think this season is going to last? Probably about a year, I would guess. Like, I like the idea of this one lasting until next summer, but don't quote me on that. I think it's going to be longer than Season 1 was, because Season 1 always anticipated wrapping up around 118, and obviously that changed for some people, but that was just always the way I was going to do it because of Survival Guide. But yeah, I'd hope we'd keep the server going for about a year. It depends what other people want to do, though. But you can imagine it lasting for about as long as a season of Hermitcraft does, you know? Where I'd say they average, like, just over a year. A lot of it depends on new updates, too. Like, if we have an update announced from Mojang and we think, oh wow, that'd be a really cool theme, but it's not something we'd want to do on this season of Empires, people are already going to be thinking ahead to, like, do we do a Season 3? Do I just do stuff like that in a hardcore world or a single player world, whatever, you know? Hermitcraft Season 8 was really short. Yeah, I mean, that was a special case, I feel like. I do kind of like that. The sunflowers just, like, they're nice and big. It just sort of makes sense. I need somewhere to put all these dead bushes as well. I can't be doing this. Any plans on doing something with the end? Yeah, we got some plans. We'll probably do an Enderman farm. Maybe with the roses. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Leave those in there for the minute. How's the capital going? It's going all right. I'm working on roads today, just kind of idling. But I want to start tying stuff together a little better as well. So right now we've got a little path that leads out there and into the central area in town. I think it's going to look a lot better once we've got more stuff built around here, because this feels a little bit jumbly right now, but more buildings, more structures will kind of tie it together, and it doesn't help that all my early game stuff is just splayed out around the place, but I don't have anywhere specific to move it to yet, so I don't want to get rid of it.
Well, that's just prime.
It sure is. Chelsea Beth Bennett, thank you so much for the 2 months. That sounded like an exclamation all on its own. It's like Gordon Bennett, but... obviously a little different. Put everything in the mountainside hole. No, I kind of want to... I want to get rid of that eventually. Like, I kind of want to tidy that up and move on from it, you know? It just doesn't have any reason to be there. At least not in the sense of the world I'm constructing around us. Oh, hello. Do you have small drip leaf? Please tell me you have small drip leaf. Ah, shame. Not quite the tragedy it would have been on Season 1 of Empires, obviously, but... yeah, I gathered a bunch of small drip leaf recently. Deep slate coal ore. Cobblestone. Cobblestone actually looks quite good in mini block form. Polished andesite, blah blah, mycelium. Got some of that now. Tiny cartography tables. Oh, they're so cute. Yeah, nothing here that I especially want. Beehives. Beehives are good for detail. Clay and bone blocks and stuff. Yeah, yeah. Alright. Does the world spawn wandering traders if other traders are already present? Yeah, it does. It's kind of weird and unique, the spawning conditions for traders, but I've definitely seen areas where there have been like 2 traders very close to each other. Two, three, 4, 5. Yeah, I guess like here then. I think this, again, may end up curving around that way. But I do want to have some straighter roads. Like, a lot of these paths feel winding and organic now. I want them to be a bit straighter in some of these areas, right? Like, if we look at it from up here... right now, everything feels kind of organic. But a capital city is going to have a few more kind of, like, main streets in it, you know? I think. Just based on the image I have in my head, which is mainly of Lanedale from Elden Ring. Are currently 2 traders on my tiny home island? Yeah. Cool thing to have in the capital might be the fossils of a huge monster like a dragon or something. I mean, maybe. One of the things in Lanedale and Elden Ring, there is like a giant skeleton of a dragon that's basically been pinned to the side of a building with a huge spear. It sort of looks like a statue, but you get the impression that it's not. I need to go back there and just take a ton of screenshots. That's what I need to do. But for example, since this path basically leads directly past the mud factory building, I sort of just want to keep it going until maybe like here and have it meet up with another straight road that's like all the way along the savannah this way. Wandering Trader had proper mules for me in my savannah. Nice. Sounds like the one time they might have been useful. Build a capital city already semi-ruined and use a high landscape as a previous earthquake zone or volcanic eruption to have it some of it down a ravine? I mean, maybe, but that's not something I had in mind for this build. You could do it, but I don't plan on doing it that way. Wandering traders are great on large biome worlds. Yeah, it makes sense. And there's definitely some extent to which wandering traders are good for players who don't travel that often or don't know what biomes are out there. There's definitely uses for them, right? Like, I feel like they get a bad rap just because people don't use them for specific stuff, but we're all like power players who know exactly what we're looking for at all times and know what all the biomes are and have read the Minecraft wiki and stuff. I expect for casual players they're much more useful. Are the wheat and the cows staying put? For now, yes. I'll probably do something with them later, but I've effectively structured this like the water coming down from the hillside is what swept away part of the wall around the catacombs on that side, so sure, yeah, like the wheat might be staying there. I do like the idea that some areas of it are just completely overgrown, and maybe some people have come through and baled up some of the wheat and gone, yeah, sure, we can maybe try and farm some of this stuff, and maybe something's happened to them, I don't know. Wandering traders are great, free leads, yeah. All you have to do is put them in a boat. You don't even need to kill them. People still do. You don't need to. RNGesus, new viewer over from the YouTube series, can't stay long because of work. Hey, no worries. Stay for as long as you need to, as long as you can, and it's always lovely to see people whenever they can make it. Shadow Star with the 12 months. Everyone spam the word nerd in the chat, please. Thank you so much for the 12 months, the full year supporting the channel. Welcome to the Nerd Herd. Enjoy your nerd sub badge. Enjoy everybody in the chat calling you a nerd. Because we all know that's what you are, and we love you for it. We also had Prince Wessie. Thank you so much for that brand new tier 1 sub to the channel. Enjoy your emotes and your sub badge. Welcome to the Pixels. Excited to have you here. Let's go back to having all of the blocks in my inventory. I think I was doing better. I was making this faster. Doofus Talon, thank you for the 8 months. Good to see you. Glad to have you. Oh, that's not gone well. Oh, wait, no, hang on. I'm looking at the wrong thing. That's still there. Good. I thought for a second my item filters had somehow broken and left just one of each block on there, and I'm like, no, that's doing what it's supposed to do. Never mind. Why are we saying nerd? Oh, the sub badges all have different names. So when Joel Duggan, who I do the Spawn Chunks podcast with, is also a professional illustrator and was an animator for a very long time. He and I worked on the sub badges here together, because I commissioned him to do some of my emotes and sub badges, and we decided that they were going to be this little form of digital life called Pixels, because that's what the community calls themselves. And I like the idea of each of them having like a little 4-digit name, like a 4-letter name. And so the first one is called Squirt, because he's like the new one. He's tiny. He's a little bit squishy because he's a slime. The 3-month one is the yellow one. It's called Blip. The 6-month one is called Yeet. It's blue. The 9-month one is called Mike. It's the orange one with a microphone, which I like especially because Joel and I met through doing podcasts together, so it was kind of fun to have a character that was kind of themed around that. But then the 12-month one, because you've been watching the channel for a full year, you're officially a nerd. The 12-month one is called Nerd. It has a little bow tie. It's kind of cute. Every time you see Squirt, I think square root. That was the whole reason we named it that, yeah. It was like a kind of a pun. Because I can't get away from doing puns on my channel. I'm British. They're part of my heritage. RNGesus PvP, thank you for the tier 1 sub. Yeah, no worries if you can't stay long. Hope to see you again soon. I do stream Tuesdays, Thursdays, and alternating Sundays here on the channel, so hopefully if you're not able to stay long today, you'll be able to catch another stream at one of those times. Occasional bonus streams will pop up every so often. Speaking of which, I don't have a bonus stream planned for it, but Bruno and Sliced Lime have been getting back into playing Minecraft Bingo. Because the full release of Noinein's Minecraft Bingo came out. It is now officially titled Fetcher. And yeah, it's out of like the beta version that it had previously, so I kind of want to play it now that it's more finalized. But I can't tear myself away from Empires right now because I've got so much I want to do on this server, so we'll see when that comes up. But I was thinking of adding a channel point reward for like one bingo game at the end of stream kind of thing. But I don't know if I'd always be able to, like, what's the word? I don't know if I'd always be able to deliver on that, because I might have some time-lapse builds or something I want to do, and that would take up the entirety of stream, so we'll see. Casey, thank you so much for the 17 months. Welcome back. So I'm going to fill this all in with regular grass for now. We'll see what this looks like. We'll take out the occasional tree as we go. We could even start using acacia logs here and there, but I don't think they quite fit the same palette that stone has, you know? We need something more like rooted dirt there. Wish grass had slabs, dude. Me too. I try not to do that to myself too much. Like, I try not to spend my entire time wishing there were more blocks in the game than we have, because sometimes it's just about making do with what you have. But yeah, there are definitely times at which I'm like, oh, grass slabs, dirt slabs, anything like that. There's no reason for concrete not to have slabs and stairs. I mean, yes and no. Because I feel like the way we make concrete in Minecraft, because it's made from powder and you add water, that kind of gives the impression that it's being set in a specific shape, from which point it might be kind of difficult to craft into a different shape because of the hardness of it, but obviously, like, the argument against that is we already use a crafting table to make stairs out of stone. I don't know what to tell you. Lone Wolf, thank you for the $2. The building's looking good so far. I haven't been able to make it to many streams. How am I? I'm good. Yeah, I haven't done many streams recently because I've been away visiting family for a few days. So I missed on Sunday stream and Tuesday stream. I was unable to stream both days, but I still managed to get the podcast and the Hermitcraft recap done, so I was happy with that as far as my overall output for that week went. But yeah, not doing too bad. Had a refreshing few days off, saw some family. Haven't seen them since before Christmas last year, so it was very good to catch up. Got to check in with them. And yeah, walked around a sculpture park, got some fun stuff done there. If you haven't seen that thread on Twitter, if you don't follow me on Twitter for various reasons, including but not limited to not having a Twitter of your own, which is a good thing to have. Yeah, I walked around Yorkshire Sculpture Park, and every sculpture we saw, I took a picture of it, and I evaluated its difficulty to build in Minecraft on a scale of 1 to 10, because I obviously built a statue kind of recently, so I've been thinking about a lot of this stuff, and it was a fun way of interacting with it. And one of the things that I think is really interesting as somebody who's doing this Minecraft thing full-time is to figure out where we get inspiration from and how we interact with inspiration. And one of the things I realized as I was doing this was that, yes, on the surface, it's like a kind of jokey way of, you know, linking everything back to Minecraft and feeling a little bit one note about what I'm doing. But also, if you think about it, it's a cool way of bringing your own experience into looking at and appreciating art. And yes, it's entertaining, but on the other hand, it's something that you feel like you can bring into it and contextualize the art, and it's a way of interacting with it. And as a result, I think I probably remembered more of the names of pieces and the artists who created them. I think I'd remember more of that doing my silly Twitter thread about Minecraft than I would have if I just walked around and tried to look at all of the pieces and appreciate them on their own merits, right? We talked about this in the pre-show for this week's Spawn Chunks podcast, so anybody who supports us on Patreon can find that there. And yeah, I was saying, like, you know, that very iconic image and sculpture where it's the word love in like a serif typeface with LOVE in big block letters, and it's usually like red on the front face and then it's got like a bit of green and blue to either side, is a sculpture by Robert Indiana, who's an artist who worked in, like, you know, print media and paint and, you know, acrylics and all that stuff, but also did sculptures, and there were a ton of his sculptures there, and I remember a whole bunch of them that I probably wouldn't have remembered. I would have remembered his name if I'd not been walking around taking pictures of them and posting them all to Twitter. And so even though it looked like I was walking around the entire day on my phone and not, like, looking up around me at the art that we were supposed to be observing, there was also a lot of walking time in between these things because they were in a big outdoor park, so it kind of gave me more time to tap away on my phone while I was doing that, and I think I remember more stuff, you know? Kind of want to build Yellow by Nathan Sawaya. I don't know of it. It's actively hilarious how some people on Twitter actively discourage people from getting Twitter. I mean, I think justified. It's a terrible place. When's the next stream? I'm going to be streaming Dungeons & Dragons with the 8-bit community this weekend, if that's what we're doing, because I don't know for certain if we're going to be doing that this weekend to make up for the lack of it last weekend. I should check in with them, actually, because the weekend is almost upon us, but otherwise I'll be back next Tuesday. What am I working on? Roads. I need more roads around here to try and lay out where everything is going to be in my capital city. It kind of makes sense to have more roads. And as such, it makes sense to have more Oh! Look who it is! It's our lad! Hello, friends. Welcome in. Ollie, still in the cage? Or is he out of the cage by now? I don't know. Welcome on in, folks. Thank you so much for the raids. Ollie the Orion Sound. I hope your stream was good. Welcome on in, friends. My name is Pixlriffs, if you don't know me. I'm that one guy from Empires. You know, the other one. Hope you all had a good time. Welcome the cage man in. The real question is, when's there going to be a cage match, eh? When's that going to happen? When are you going to drop kick somebody from the top rope, Ollie? When's it happening? So I'm over here on Empires working on my ancient capital. This is the biome probably closest to spawn. My wandering trader is here smelling the sunflowers, the weirdo. It's the same guy though. Despite all his rage, still a bard in the cage. Yes, absolutely. Hello, Scrunkly Bard fans, yes. He's just a little scrunkly guy. We don't have dirt slabs. It makes me upset. Insubordinate and churlish. You know what? I can probably grab some granite as well. We're just going to make the paths from Pixandria again. Ollie's like a spirit to this world, roaming around or just singing. Occasionally singing a lament for himself in the cage. Not gonna go bricks. Bricks are too much. Too much. Have to head out for an interview. Have a great stream. Thank you so much, Rune Bunny. Take it easy. See you later. Sputnik, thank you for the tier 1 sub. Brand new sub to the channel. Enjoy your emotes. Enjoy your sub badge. Welcome to the Pixels. We need all the Junglewood slabs. He's just a rambling man. Currently not rambling because of the aforementioned cage. Let's put these in here. He is a canary for Fwip's mine currently, yes. He's testing whether there's any poisonous gas down there. Turns out it's the warden. Current storage room only has like 12 double chests. Oh, it's a rough time. See, that sort of looks like rooted dirt if I squint at it like this. It'll do, it'll do. We'll use imagination to make sure it's exactly like a rooted dirt slab. Yep. That's what we'll do. Especially since we're not going to have any grass. Glow lichen over the top might look like roots. The problem with that is it's still a slab. So you can't put glow lichen over the top of it because it will go on the top of a block, but it won't attach to something that's not a full block. It's a good idea. I like your thinking. Unfortunately, it's not going to work. We'll probably have glow lichen around here anyway because it works really well for lighting stuff up without there being, like, you know, lamp posts and stuff. But Love that Ollie had a stream where he just sat in the cage. Yes, the creativity on display. Quite literally on display, actually, because he was dangling from the ceiling by a chain. But it was a great stream. Do I know Wax Fraud? I know of Wax Fraud. Don't know them personally, but I know of. They are known to me as an individual. A streamer of whom I am aware. Why do you ask? RXE3563 says 1.20 gameplay question mark? What do you mean? What do you mean by that? Are you saying that I should play 1.20, an update that hasn't been released yet? Are you asking if I have any insight into 1.20? I do not. I do not work for Mojang. Are you asking when we're likely to see it? Zero idea about that either. 1.20 does not exist yet. First time here, you saw a bundle in the inventory. I mean, they've been in the game since 1.17. You just have to add them in using data packs. I like the idea that we've just got a secret Minecraft update that nobody knows about yet. 1.20, if you know, you know. What's up, Whip? You coming with the Ollie raid? Welcome in. I just like when people phrase something as a question with absolutely no context, and I'm like, how do I interpret this? Tell me. Anytime I see stuff like that now, someone's like, "Is this a question that provokes more questions than it asks?" My brain immediately goes to that whole my T-shirt meme, you know, I don't have Minecraft 1.20 T-shirt answers a lot of questions that people keep asking me or whatever. The thing is, I can't remember. I'm so tired. Whoa, hello. Where do you come from? I can't believe it. He came out of nowhere. Luckily, I have lots of dirt because literally all I've been doing is moving it around all day. Where did that guy... Oh, I see. Probably just wandered casually out of this hole. Yeah, one of these. Luckily, I'd placed like 3 stone blocks there, so there wasn't really anything for him to blow up. He might have got one of my slabs. Joke's on you, I've got more. Am I not involved in whatever T-shirt is raising a lot of questions already answered by my T-shirt? Yeah. That's the one. That's the one. You know me. You know well enough what I'm about. Do I have dynamic lights on to save torches? No, because the whole point of dynamic lights is to light your way as you go, but the whole point of torches is to light up the world so stuff doesn't spawn. Are you saying that's why the creeper turned up? It is not. The creeper turned up because there are probably loads of places for him to spawn around here, because caves are quite frequent. Can I use shaders? No. I mean, I can, but I won't. Get a couple of mud bricks in there. How far ahead do I tend to plan these ruins? This is all being made up on the spot, so like a few seconds. Stuff like the statue, I had that built a day or two before the episode went out. Like other stuff like this, I planned there to be a mud factory thing here, but I didn't really plan any kind of building around it. It varies. It really varies. Don't really like building things in creative first, prefer workshopping directly in survival. I have often taken that approach, especially in series like Survival Guide and whatnot. Honestly, with Empires, I prefer building stuff in creative first, if only because it saves me so much time in like the preparation side of things, because it's easier to draft a build in creative first. Havoc Tracks, thank you for the 6 months. And Soyo Kaze-san, thank you so much for gifting that sub earlier. Yeah, I prefer building stuff, drafting stuff in creative first, because I can come up with stuff like this, which there would be no way I'd be able to do in survival as quickly as I did. And I want to be able to build stuff like this quickly so that I can move on to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And yeah, like there's some stuff like that I can do in survival, but when it comes to a more, like a whole vision for an area, I find it's much easier to come up with that stuff in creative first. Like if I'm freestyling a base and it doesn't really matter what it turns out like, if I've not got like a full artistic vision, I just need to do Minecraft stuffs, then yeah, absolutely, I'll freestyle stuff in survival, and it will often turn out all right. But yeah, there's some things that I just can't do as well as I've managed to get them done on this season, at least. Like I'm so happy with that. Would not have been happy with it if I built it in survival. I mean, I built it in survival, but if I hadn't drafted it in creative first. Same with the Skull Cave. Like, I would have agonized over the proportions of that for so many unnecessary hours. And instead I was able to just get on and build it, and then work out what was going inside in survival, which was a whole separate thing. How do you stop living in big cuboids? Try other shapes. Try adding the shapes together. Try overlapping the shapes. This needs to probably end, like I'll say up here. This isn't a creeper hole. I don't know what you're talking about. Happens to the best of us. Okay, this needs to... Yeah, this needs to transition to stone on this side. I feel like it's been mud on this side the entire time. And let's have some mossy cobblestone there. What can I... There we go.
Well, that's just
Athena Mania, thanks so much for the Prime sub. Brand new sub to the channel. Enjoy your emotes and your sub badge. Welcome to the Pixels. Happy to have you with us. When you draft something in creative, do you use a world download of Empires so you're working in the same environment, or do you use a flat world and then adopt the build? Depends. Variety of approaches. More recently on this season, I have been using not necessarily a world download of what we already have on the server, but I've sometimes been using the world seed, because I think the location, the environment a build is placed in is almost as important as the build itself in a lot of cases. So I wanted to adapt that Skull Fort area to the area of the jungle that I built it in, and that led to there being multiple layers to it. So like the flat ground area where there's like the campfires and the chapel and the tower and everything that I built like in that kind of flat section in there informed how I built the interior, and that was informed by the landscape around it, right? Like the stuff that the Skull Fort was built on. You need that stuff around you. Just me on the server right now, so I gotta sleep. The creepers will already be out again, looking for more stuff to blow up. Dream96, thank you for the 111 bits. Minecraft Live is on October 15th. Wow, okay, that's earlier than last year's was. At least I'm pretty sure. Because last year's was towards the end of October, right? So that means we're only like, what, 6 weeks away from knowing what 1.20 is? Assuming they're going to announce it, because having a Minecraft Live without announcing the next update, while plausible, seems a little strange. So I'm hopeful that that's what we'll end up seeing. I must have armor. Yep, he has armor. Okay, fair. I was like, he should be dead after a few swipes, and he's not, because half chainmail, apparently. How do you decide the block ratio of different blocks? For some reason, your blocks always end up looking messy and not natural. So, here's the thing, right? Here is one factor. Here, I'm trying to be a bit more deliberate with it, because this is a ruined area. It's kind of overgrown. There's some stuff that's been laid down as a brick road ages ago, and then the stone is meant to represent areas where that brick has basically been worn down by foot traffic to the point where you can no longer see the bricks, right? Like it's been worn smooth over time. The mud bricks are there to show that there's just been, like, mud and dirt and stuff has been blown around, and maybe they're dusty or maybe they're muddy from people walking over them. And then the mud is basically that, but for the smooth stone, and then the coarse dirt and the rooted dirt are basically transitioning into the grass, but then the mossy stone brick also kind of transitions into the grass, so you can have those side by side. They fit together like a kind of jigsaw puzzle, in a sense, that, like, you don't have to follow those rules all of the time. Like, there's clearly elements where there's a stone brick and it's touching a grass block on two sides, and I'm not going to be like, well, that has to be a mossy stone brick, but obeying those rules more often than not creates, like, a bigger picture kind of thing. The other thing I would say is not to worry about that stuff too much, which seems silly considering how much I'm worrying about it here, but 9 times out of 10, I find that, like, I'm looking at this now, and I'm thinking, I could do better. Like, some of this looks a little bit messy. I could keep tinkering with it all of the time. I could just keep, like, editing one block here and there until it looked absolutely perfect, it would take me like 4 times as long as it currently does. And then I'll look at somebody else's path that looks kind of like this, that's like a jumble of different blocks, but it's all trying to like work with a theme and convey a similar kind of impression, and I'll go, that's genius, this person's an incredible builder, how have I not thought of doing that? Like, they've done this so much better than I could. The imposter syndrome starts to kick in. What you need to realize that after a certain point, individual choices like this matter, but they only matter up to a certain point, and you've got to move on from some of those choices and appreciate that in context of the other stuff that you're going to build around those, after a while, it's going to look deliberate. To an outside observer, it's going to look deliberate. And you only know the imperfections because you've been staring at it for so long. And in some cases, you've been staring at it for long enough that what might have looked good to you before was gonna, like, is gonna eventually look bad to you because you're like, oh, I'm just sick of staring at this thing now. If you come back to it with fresh eyes and you're like, yeah, actually, that looks all right, good, move on. Like, you don't need to stick around and and ah over the details for that long. Like, sometimes it's just about moving on and doing it, and then it will feel like it fits in with everything later. You know what I mean? Like, I'll give them a free plug. I was listening to the second episode of Impulse and Skizzleman's podcast, because they just started a podcast, and Impulse is going to be joining us for the next episode of the Spawn Chunks podcast that Joel Duggan and I do. So I wanted to like get the lowdown on what's happening with the Imp and Skizz podcast so we can talk about it. And their most recent episode 2 of their show, was about imposter syndrome, and it was about like the idea that you are your own worst enemy. You hold yourself up from making decisions that are going to potentially impact your life, and you're scared of doing certain things, and like a lot of it is just about taking that first step and then committing, and realizing that yeah, you can do a lot of this stuff and there isn't really anything holding you back. And imposter syndrome is rough because everyone sort of feels it to a certain extent, especially when there are so many examples shared online now. You know of so many people who you just see and go, that person does this better than I would do it, and I can think of a million reasons why. I think the reality of the situation is that whatever you do would probably look really good to them because it's an idea they haven't had. They haven't sat with that idea. They haven't stewed on that idea. They aren't sick of that idea already. And it's like, it's the same thing here. Like, I will probably look at this pathway and go like, yeah, I really wish that these transitions work better, but we don't have grass and dirt, stairs and slabs, so we don't need to worry too much about those. But there's definitely some areas of the flatter stuff where it looks like I've used too many blocks. It's not overgrown enough. How is that going to fit in with the idea of this being a ruin? If there's so much of this stuff still exposed, like, do I need to make it more overgrown? And after a point, my brain just shuts down and I go, okay, don't care, move on. Like, that's the only way you can reconcile some of this stuff sometimes. Just tell yourself that you don't need to worry about that. And that you're going to make it look better by putting it in context with the other stuff that's around it. Hopefully that helps, because that's honestly, like, it's a good way to work on this stuff. Is to try and convince yourself to care less. Still care about what you do, but make sure that your brain understands this is all just something that you will look at a little bit, and then you'll move on from it, you know? I think that's going to be a mud brick, though. And again, does it matter that that's a mud brick? It continues the line of these mud bricks up to there, which kind of blends the two levels together. But, like, that doesn't matter. Not really. Yeah. The problem with this road overall, like, it's probably going up too steeply anyway. Because, like, you think of how roads work. Is there a creeper standing over there, or is it just a bush? It's my imagination. You think of how roads work, and you think that's probably too steep of an incline for like horse and cart level civilization, right? But like standing back and looking at this from a distance, I like it a lot more than I liked it up close as well. Like, that's another thing. Perspective is always really important in these things. But yeah, like we'll have a look at this from a few different angles, and I'll find a lot that I like about it. Even though up close I'm like, yeah, there's too many blocks there. Do I know there's Minecraft Live right now? Minecraft Now is happening live right now, and I believe they've announced the date for Minecraft Live, the official presentation and stuff. But yeah, I know that Minecraft Now is happening. That's fine. They don't tend to announce anything major that I can't just catch up on afterwards, so I'm fine streaming at the same time as them. It doesn't matter to me. How am I zooming in without a spyglass? We have a mod called Logical Zoom, which basically does the same thing Optifine does. It just gives you a zoom key that you can hold down. Because look at my inventory. Do I have space for a spyglass in here? Yes, I could swap out the shovel or the boat or the bed. Anything, really. But I do like this. I do like this road pattern that we've got going on. And now that we have a road going that way, we can have a road going that way, like across there. I just need to start getting this place laid out, you know? Horse and cart more than the 5% grade would be rough. At this scale, your city would need to be a kilometer wide to handle that slope. Yeah, exactly. So, like, yeah, a lot of this stuff we are going to be approximating based on what Minecraft itself is capable of. Why not make a path that follows the contour like I did in Survival Guide? Because in Survival Guide, I'm not building a city. In this, I'm building a city. This is meant to be an ancient capital. This is meant to be a place where, at one time or another, however many thousands of years ago, or maybe even more recently than that, because 1,000 years is a long time, people came, people gathered, people built stuff, people abandoned that stuff. Events wiped them out, whatever. And before that, this place was meant to have been, like, you know, Rome, effectively, right? Like, I don't have aspirations of building something on the scale of Rome because that's impossible in survival, in the time span that we have, probably. But, yeah, like, I'm not building, like, quaint little starter base kind of material here. I'm going big. What's my biggest inspiration for the city? In Elden Ring, there is a location called Lanedale, the Royal Capital, which I can show you a couple of reference images from, if you'll give me 2 seconds. So spoilers for anybody who hasn't played Elden Ring. Because if I open this image, let me do this. There we go. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Display capture. There. So this is Lanedale. It's one of the key locations in Elden Ring. It's the climax of the game basically happens here. There's this massive tree overshadowing everything up here. Obviously, a lot of the architecture is very kind of classical. There's a lot of Gothic architecture in Elden Ring, but this area feels a little bit cleaner than that. It feels a little bit more kind of Greco-Roman to start with, but then think like, you know, Italian architecture, like, you know, Florence. There's a lot of that element to it. Yeah, large buildings, large thoroughfares. Like, you look at this street down here, right? How do I get to zoom? There we go. I hate Windows Photo Viewer sometimes. Like down here, clearly you've got like a street, and it's kind of got the same thing going on here, right? This is like, if you look at the road, the way it's broken up there, obviously it's artifacting because this picture is kind of small, but there's like rubble to either side. There's these kind of carts of some kind, like the carriages, that you see these giant creatures dragging around in the early stages of the game. They end up here sometimes, and they're all just like overturned on their sides, so there's a lot of like debris and stuff around here, but then bits of it that are overgrown because this place has fallen into ruin. It's still a grand place, and my place is going to be more broken down than this, but this is an area that's sort of been, it's the entire world is in decline in Elden Ring, basically. And you're sort of effectively, after an apocalyptic event, you are trying to restore order or maybe cause even further destruction. Depends which path you take through the story. But then there's massive statues everywhere. There's a lot of golds, obviously. I'm not going to go gold roofs. I'm probably going to use prismarine and copper and stuff like that for the roofs. But that changes the materials that I'm working with, and some of them won't have roofs because they're all broken down. European road network, not everything is just cube after cube. Yeah, so like some of the pathways, they're going to feel like big straight roads, big kind of thoroughfares, but then there's going to be more winding kind of pedestrianized walking areas and that kind of stuff, because you explore the entire place on foot, and there aren't really, aside from the carriages and stuff, there aren't really any, you know, wheeled forms of transportation. You ride a horse around a bunch, but that's really as far as it goes. Yeah, there's just lots of stuff where it's like building on building on building, and like a lot of variation in heights. Like, I mean, I'm not going to get anywhere near this scale in Minecraft, especially considering I'm starting from like 100 blocks above sea level anyway. But you see what I'm going for there in terms of like vibe, not in terms of necessarily the scale, the detail of the builds, all of that stuff. Like, there's some major set pieces in it, and like this is really a nod to the kind of stuff that you find in Lanedale. Like, I want this to feel like a big set piece that really feels like a focal point of the area, in the same way that when you first walk into Lanedale, one of the first things you see is the Erd Tree, which is this tree you've been trying to get to for the entirety of the game. You walk through an archway, basically. Like, you have to enter Lanedale through effectively like a back door. So you go through there, and then the first vista you get of the city is a shot of the Erd Tree, and because you're looking at it from inside the city walls, you realize that there is a massive entrance to the Erd Tree at the foot of the trunk, and it's like split up the side, and there's just an archway there that leads to like a throne area and a door. And so that's like a revelation for the player the first time you get there. And then you walk through the neighboring doorway and you get your first shot of the rest of the city, and that's where you see that there's a giant skeletal dragon pierced against the side of a building with a giant golden spear. And you're like, some stuff has clearly happened here, right? But I like the idea of people seeing this and just going like, what is that? And having to like, you know, walk up this main street, which effectively like is not centered on the statue because of course it wasn't planned that way. But it kind of leads you towards that the entire time. And, like, it would be kind of cool if there were buildings around this, so the first shot you got of the statue, the first real look at it you pass underneath this archway, and it's just framed there by the building on this side and the tree on that side. Like, we could do that, but you also have to consider that in Minecraft, players are moving around different ways. Like, people are traveling on horseback, or they're flying, or they're, you know, they're not as limited. You can't, like, guarantee that a player is always going to approach things from a certain angle when you're building in the open like this. So you can do some playing around with perspective, but people are always just going to be able to like fly into the sky and be like, oh cool, massive statue, and like you can't limit their perspective if they're flying around. Will there be anything bigger than the statue? Oh yeah, absolutely. Like, I'm planning on building a castle probably along here somewhere, right? What mod do I use to record a time-lapse from different angles? That is the replay mod. You can find it at replaymod.com. It's linked in the description of any video that uses it. Put a sign, no flying allowed. Yeah, the problem is, where do you put the sign? In the air somewhere. And hope that somebody flies past it. And is like, a floating sign? What is this? Pappy Harry, thanks so much for that brand new tier 1 sub to the channel. Enjoy your emotes and your sub badge. Welcome to the Pixels. Will my area tie into the Great Bridge? Yeah, so the plan right now with the Great Bridge is to have... I sort of started carving it out over here, but basically like big archway here that leads through to the capital. So like right now if I was to dig through here it would become a tunnel. But I only want to start working on that when I have an idea of what this is going to look like. So I haven't started carving away this part yet, because then people are going to come and build stuff on the Great Bridge and it's just going to look like half a hillside has been torn down without anything cool being built there yet. But basically, like, you go through the gates there, and then there's probably some buildings around here. And then you could, in theory, come around on a road that leads you down that way. And like I said, the first glimpse you get of the statue is from there, but... Massive shape in the sky made of signs that says "do not fly." Yeah. Yeah, big sign array. Have I seen shovels part of the bridge? Yes, I have. I have. Have the statue holding a sign. It's like the Statue of Liberty, but it just has like a Minecraft sign that says "no flying." Big Tasty, thank you for the 2 months. Is the statue going to be at the back of the city or the front? Well, it's difficult to say what the front and the back really are. Because it's not going to be like... It's like what's the front or the back of London, you know? Like, cities don't necessarily work that way, I guess. Like, is it going to be facing the main gates to the city? No, it's going to be facing away from them. So, like, if you are coming through the main gate and you had an unobstructed view of the statue, you'd be looking at it kind of from the back from one side, I guess. Can close my Google search for Lanedale now, thank you. If there's a door for whip and sausage, we'll use a window. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So this section of the road, we probably want it to be about 7 blocks wide. So I'm going to give myself a little bit of headroom here. Because this is going to obviously open out some. And then we need to take this down. And you might think, wow, you're having to demolish a lot of the landscape for this. Yep. The cool part about this is, first of all, of course the first thing I see is a creeper. The cool part about this is, it gets me a lot of building blocks. Like, having a lot of dirt and grass and stuff is kind of perfect for what I need to do in other areas. We'll be able to do some landscaping with this, you know? Also, all of the dirt can be turned into more mud, which is something I will need a great deal of after this. But then you can use these walls and other dirt areas as means to, like, be, okay, like, there's going to be a building there. Maybe that's, like, where the castle gate ends up, or maybe that leads to another path or something. Do I have an auto mud clay farm? I don't have clay, but I have mud, yeah. Yeah, the mud farm is this foundation kind of thing over here. Or if we hop up into here, can place dirt against this piston. And it's not full auto, and it's occasionally you place the dirt faster than it can produce bottles. Because it's, you know, server timing is kind of twitchy on occasion. But it's good. Just put that there. It's fine. No one will know. Can you use grassy dirt for mud? No. No, you can't use grass blocks. You have to convert dirt, rooted dirt, or coarse dirt. Have I thought about building an aqueduct? Yes. I don't know if I'm going to be building one yet, but I plan to have some sort of water source. Maybe up in the mountains, maybe the castle that I'm planning is controlling it, and it either comes down into the ruins via an aqueduct, or it will, it'll be like, you know, a more natural feeling river, but it will have carved the landscape somewhat. That's the idea. Still working on the details. Still a long way to go with this place before we actually have it looking somewhat decent. Coarse dirt can be used to make mud? Yes. Yeah, so, I mean, it's easily renewable. We're getting a few new blocks in here and there. If you have grass blocks in the dirt farm, turn them into farmland and jump on it. Yeah, you can do that. You could just turn them into farmland and let them convert themselves back into dirt, because without a water source nearby, they'll just convert on their own. Kind of amazed I haven't done more damage to this shovel already, but I guess we have been punching stuff. Got a long old road though. We probably also want this to be, this is what, 6 blocks wide right now? We want this to be 1 block wider. I don't really want an even numbered road. I mean, the road doesn't matter that much, but always best to make things odd numbers, because if you want to put a big building at the end of one of them or something, it makes sense for it to be an odd number wide. Do you want to know who's online? Yes, me. Nobody else. At least not right now. Joel and Jimmy have both been online. But Jimmy had a sponsored stream thing at 5. And Joel has other bits and pieces to take care of, I assume. Am I comfortable with people cosplaying me? I mean, I guess. Especially if it's something to do with my Empire's character, because, I mean, I don't have a character, so it doesn't really... If it's just, like, the costume is fun for you to do, then go for it. I feel like I'm just a dude who wears normal clothes the rest of the time, so I feel like that's pretty straightforward. It's like having a Halloween costume where you're like, I turned up as an apathetic teenager. Do I use tree chopping mods? No. We don't have them on this server and I don't use them generally. Why not put enchanting under the statue? Because the statue is like part of this tomb kind of area. Different purposes. Will I make a sewer then? I like the idea of doing it, but one of my mission statements for anything I build on Empires is, with the exception of stuff like my storage system, because it's easier to conceal redstone underground, is like, I want to build a lot of this stuff on the surface, because most of the time when people come and visit your base, they're not going to go looking for a sewer system. And I think a lot of the fun here is in exploring stuff people have built on the surface, right? Unless I have some kind of, like, quest that's going to take people around a sewer system, I don't really see the need in building it. The goal here is not to have a realistic simulation of a real-life city. It's much more about building something that looks cool to be background detail for the Empire series, right? So I think the idea really is to create a bunch of stuff that is easily visible from the surface and looks good on the surface. If I have time to build a sewer system, then sure, I guess. But I'm also not a civic planner. I don't know quite how a sewer system would work. I haven't exactly built bathrooms into any of my existing builds, so I don't know. And I know that sewers aren't just for bathroom. They're not just for, like, household waste. They're for, like, you know, water runoff from streets and that kind of thing. But again, I'm not building these streets with a camber or anything, you know? I could build a sewer in somebody else's town. That'd be fun. Like, go over to Catherine's base and just build a sewer system underneath her kingdom. That'd be good. Sure. Rule of cool more than realism. Yeah, I mean, I brought that up on the Spawn Chunks podcast this week. We were talking about, like, whether or not architectural features on some of our builds really make any sense. And I was like, this is one of the things I've learned from D&D, is that the rule of cool always applies. If something looks cool, we're playing a video game. Just make it and have it be cool. That's fine. You don't need to justify its existence if it looks cool. That is the point of it. What's up, Parsley? I'm doing very well, thanks for asking. Hope you're doing well too. Wouldn't it help to have a tree chopping mod in Mega Tigers and Jungles? I mean, it would help, sure. Like, does it feel like vanilla Minecraft to me? No. So I don't want to do it. Like, there's a lot of stuff that could help. Like, having Vein Miner would help. Having something that gave me all of the diamonds or let me put Mending and Infinity on the same bow, it'll help. It's not part of vanilla Minecraft. And yes, we have a few, like, cosmetic mods on Empires, and I think that's the line I draw. We don't want to modify gameplay too much, but we have a data pack that adds bundles, and we have a mod to help us add cosmetic stuff, like Whip's ears, Jimmy's wings being different, that kind of stuff, right? Big K from the A, thank you so much for stopping in. I'm glad you are enjoying Empires. I guess we're going to have this going this way as well, right? 7 blocks wide, decent long city streets. Mending Infinity Bow, the forbidden fruit. As of, like, what was that, 1.13, 1.14 when they changed that? Actually, it's probably earlier than that, wasn't it? I don't remember Mending and Infinity being possible when I started Survival Guide Season 1. Which is kind of my benchmark of when stuff happened now. How do you actually get the custom items, not the textures, but how do you make the game differentiate them? We have a custom mod that lets us do that. That's the whole point of the Empires mod, which is not available publicly anywhere. It's something that's being custom built for us as we play, basically. We have an art team and a mod team behind the scenes working to, like, collect all of our requests and implement them. My personally Team Mending or Team Infinity? Look at the state of my bow. Look at the durability that's left on my bow and answer that for yourself. Mixed with bundles, I see their value. It's a poor fix for larger inventory issues. I mean, they're not meant to fix larger inventory issues. That's not the point of them. Bundles aren't meant to be a solution to all problems. They're meant to be a solution to one problem in particular. Will the Empire mod ever be publicly available? I don't know. I don't know if we've come to a decision on that, but like, my expectation would be probably not. Or if it is, we'll make it available, like, along with the world download at the very end of the season. But, like, practically speaking, nobody will really have any use for it except for us. Because it's very much being coded with the idea of, let's just have a way of everybody being able to use an item on their own elytra, sword, bow, pickaxes, whatever, tools, carved pumpkin hats, or helmets, armor, that kind of stuff. That way, not everybody's netherite helmet is going to look the same, and it's not just tied to renaming it certain stuff. Have I already decided what I'm going to do to spruce up the nether portal? I know what I'm going to do. I haven't decided. I haven't, like, built the design yet. If I was to bring a guest onto the server at all, who would it be? I mean, anyone from Hermitcraft, maybe? I don't know. Like, I don't know. I don't know who would make a good guest. Who would you want to see on the server? Like, who would you want to see touring the server? I know Grian visited on Empire Season 1 because him and Jimmy know each other have known each other for a while, so... people saying Scar, yeah. I mean, considering he's playing an elf on Hermitcraft, that'd be pretty funny, right? Imagine throwing him into the middle of all of this. Dinnerbone with the caveat that someone kills him? Yeah, I think Dinnerbone's just been taking a break from Minecraft in general for a while, and fair play, like, seems like he's been having a bit of a rough time of it mentally. Maybe Rendog? That's the thing, like, for a server tour, like, it'd be different to, like, just having somebody join the server. Like, that's completely different, right? You want to have Joel Duggan join the server? Yeah, so that we can have the most confusing tour as we try and, like, differentiate between two people named Joel. Hey, Wattles would be fun. It'd be fun to have Wattles on for a tour. I'd love to see Pearl back again. Yeah, right. Scar Hawkeyeing people left and right. Yeah, this creates an interesting setup right here. Because obviously that's going to be able to go over far enough that it can link up with the Great Bridge. Why height is the Great Bridge at? Always watching on the big screen TV. What's up, Pearl? Good to see you. 104, there you go. Saint Pearl is always watching. So this over here is at 91. Okay, so we gotta raise it up by another handful of blocks, like 13 blocks, if it's gonna match the height of the bridge. Honestly, like once it goes through the gateway, like the road could travel down into the city. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be like on a level with the Great Bridge. In fact, it's more interesting if it isn't. Fazoo, thank you for gifting a sub to Pearl. So kind of you. Pearl, welcome back for your 5th month. Enjoy the emotes. Lurking and working. Never not working with you. I've seen Shovel and her Frog's adventure on the bridge. I've seen the build. I haven't seen the video that the build is in, so looking forward to that. Yeah, let's throw all of this stuff in here. We are just about at time. We've done 3 hours here. Feels like we haven't done much, but we've done a lot at the same time. And all of this infrastructure planning stuff is stuff that I need to do on streams, because if I try and do it in videos, I spend an hour doing stuff and then I get bored and I go and do something else. So you guys are keeping me on the straight and narrow here, quite literally. Ave, thank you so much for the 16 months. Welcome in. We are just about to wrap up here, so sorry to cut things short. But I did have a nice time off. Yeah, it was good to see family, good to catch up with people, and has left me rejuvenated and with lots of ideas here. So we'll hopefully be able to do something about those. But if we come up here, we can at least take a look at what we've done so far. Time flies when I'm having fun, and so do I. Yeah, we got a bit of path work done here. That's going to be like a big path leading out to the main street, I guess. And there'll be lots more roads around here, but we are just making a start. The savannah is a lot of terrain. There's a lot of stuff to cut into, and we'll do what we can with some of this. But yeah, I like that road. I do think the road is turning out quite well, even if the incline might be a little steep. We'll see. But yeah, we'll wrap things up there. Don't be asking Pearl why she didn't join season 2. She's got Hermitcraft to do. Leave her alone. All right, we're going to leave it there, folks. Thank you so much for hanging out today. Hope you all had a good time. We're going to be raiding somebody else here on Twitch. And then I've got to run off and grab some food, probably. Let's see who's out there streaming. If you want to check in on my partner, who is currently writing out the entirety of Lord of the Rings by hand. It's a very different type of stream to mine. There is adult language occasionally. That's over at twitch.tv/celeryman. They're over there. They're live right now. So if you want to go and say hi, then say hi. Let's do something a little different to our usual, I guess. Let's go raid Chosen Architect, who is currently streaming Vault Hunters. If you folks are familiar with Vault Hunters, Iskal's mod pack, he's currently level 155 plus Vault running in a world that he's also playing on YouTube. So go check out Chosen Architect for me. I believe he's a family-friendly content creator, so if you guys feel like watching some more vanilla Minecraft stuff, feel free to click away, because this is all modded stuff. But Chosen Ears, always a good watch. Yeah, he and I have done some stuff in the past, which has always been kind of fun. So, yeah, go say hi to me. Go say hi from me. Don't forget you can use your Pixel Hype emotes and the hashtag PixelRaid to show some love. And,
Well,
yeah, I'll catch you guys again later.
Prime.
Ricard at the last minute, thank you so much for the Prime sub. All right, I'm off. Have a good one. My name's been Pixlriffs. I'll see you all soon. Bye for now.